to the Coffee Club, broadcasting live from New York with your host, Felix, and co-host, Dr. Marc. So let's have a cup of coffee and enjoy the show.
There is no heaven. There is no hell. There is only this world and its dark reflection. And we do not know in which of the two worlds we are.
Tonight, live from the dark side, this is who am I tonight? Oh, I'm Felix.
You're Felix.
How could I forget my own name?
And I'm Dr. Marc.
And the show is the Coffee Club. And today we are broadcasting from the dark side. Tonight we're going to be talking about prostitution, that terrible word, the oldest, as they say, the oldest profession in the world.
And did you tell everybody that you were hoping to line up an interview tonight? We're hoping to have somebody call up or maybe even knock on the door.
But they wanted to get paid, and that's against our religion.
Well, you see, it's just like when you have a session with your shrink on the phone. They don't give you that for nothing, you know.
Yeah.
Time is money, Felix. Time is money.
Time is money. And prostitution, it goes back pretty far into history, doesn't it?
All the way back to the Stone Age, when man first hit woman over the head with a rock hammer, you know, and dragged her into the cave.
What was she getting paid for? Well, paid with, I should say.
But actually, you know, the United States, as usual, we always lag behind the rest of the world, don't we, Felix?
I would think so. I mean, there's a few countries that have prostitution that's legal.
You know, if you go to Sweden or Switzerland, they have red light districts. In fact, they have the big picture windows like they have in downtown Brooklyn or some of the old brownstones. And the women actually stand there, you know, practically putting on a show for you, you know, trying to entice you.
You mean like in Vegas?
And in Vegas, I learned that not many, but there are a few of the ladies of the evening who are actually married and have families. You know, they just look at this as another job. They don't do any kissing or anything. It's just straight sex. The money, of course, is always up front. They say that their husbands and or boyfriends know exactly what they do, and they're not sorry. And they make good money, let's face it. I mean, where can you find a college girl? Because for the most part, they're women. Where could you find a college girl going to graduate school or law school and coming out without a penny in debt? Because this is what they do. And they're very upfront about it. They say, look, I love sex. Why shouldn't I get paid for it?
Well, some of them don't like it, but they like the money. Same difference.
No, when they don't like sex, it's called marriage.
Oh.
When they look at it as an obligation, it's called marriage.
Okay. I'm looking at a map of the world. Mark, you'll look at it in a second. And yellow is where prostitution is not legal.
And you know what this is?
Russia.
That's Russia.
United States.
United States, and that's
Alaska.
Alaska.
And then the place, these are kind of legal. I'm sorry, excuse me. This is kind of legal. In the United States, you have places that's legal. Russia, they're saying it's kind of legal.
You know,
It's-
you brought up a good point the other day when I was speaking to you when we were consulting about the show on the phone. You said, "Why is it legal in Nevada and in no other state?"
Well, it's a state by state law. It's not a federal
Well,
law.
but I realize that. But you would think that, especially in states where they're having trouble meeting a budget, you know, I mean, if you tax prostitution, first of all, and you make it the government in charge, the girls have to be checked out. They got to be clean. They go once a month. They would be paying enormous taxes. You know, I mean, look at what they did in Colorado with legalizing marijuana. The so-called legalized stores where you can get medical marijuana, they charge the store owner Colorado charges 25% tax.
Okay, now, wait a second. Here, you ready for this?
Sure.
It says in Iceland, the actual act of having sex for money is not illegal, but paying for it is. So basically, the only way to do it this legally is to stiff your escort. Makes no sense, does it? That's the same law.
Well, but then there's a
That's the same law that's in Norway and in Sweden.
now I'm just laughing at the terminology when you talk about stiffing your escort. You know, I mean, I only think of stiff in one term. You know, one way. That's
Yeah, I know.
it.
Well, they're saying giggity. Only way to do this is legally is to stiff your escort. Wait a second. But your escort is the woman.
Well, I think that's why a lot of these places want their money up front before you do anything.
Well, look at this now. In the Ivory Coast, soliciting a prostitute is illegal. But if you wind up with her and pay for sex, you're fine.
Makes no sense to me.
Well, yeah, if you pick up a girl, but she wasn't soliciting, you just go out, you have a drink, then you decide to go somewhere and have sex, and she goes, no, I want to get paid for it. Then it's legal. She wasn't out in the street soliciting it.
Well,
There's no solicitation. In Liechtenstein, they're cool with it as long as you're not doing it out in the street. So Richard Gere will have to look elsewhere for a fancy dinner date in Vaduz. So that one you can't do, no soliciting in the street. All right, now let's go look at Russia. Since all those smoking hot Russian models are clearly dating those 75-year-old billionaires for their good looks and charming personalities, Russia has deemed formal prostitution a mere administrative offense, kind of like drinking in public or speeding.
Mr. Bina,
Why don't you go see what it's like in USA? Can you read it?
it says, just because you got some extras at one of the places on this list doesn't mean it's legal there. The U.S. of A. makes this list, much like we make a list of the world's largest meth producers, thanks to some of the rural counties in Nevada. Now, that makes no sense to me at all. I don't even know what they're talking about.
Since 150,000 in law school debt didn't sound all that appealing, none of our lawyers, which means we don't use fancy terms like ipso facto, and we're not completely qualified to tell you. Okay, so USA it's legal? No, just because you've got.
I read that.
No, I'm trying to figure out what it means. I have no idea what
Forget
that
it.
means.
Not worth our time.
Japan. But what's interesting is look at the map where it's illegal completely. Like in Australia, it's partially legal. Almost the whole Africa is illegal to have prostitution.
Well, you know why? You get AIDS.
So it's interesting that and then there's one little country where it's illegal, and I assume in Mexico, from what this map looks like. No,
Isn't that New Zealand?
No, that's Iceland.
Iceland. Okay.
Iceland is one of those countries that are questionable, they said. Oh, no, that's not Iceland.
It's illegal.
That's not Iceland, that's Greenland.
Okay.
The little one next to it is Iceland. But the countries in Colombia, you are not allowed to make business transaction with your new girlfriend in the tolerance zones. Whatever that means. I have no idea.
Probably the red light district.
Well, it's just telling you not allowed to make business there, so it can't be the red light. I don't think. Well, let's see where it's legal. Argentina, it's legal. If you want to go on vacation into the Caribbean, Aruba is legal. Belize is legal.
Believe it or not.
Bonaire is legal. Curacao is legal. Dominican Republic is legal. Hey, now I know where I want to go on vacation. It's legal in Israel, the Holy Land. In Lebanon. Mexico, it's legal. In Monaco, which everything is legal probably. UK, Switzerland. I don't know. To me, it looks like prostitution is illegal. Like we said, most of the world except
Most of the world except here.
Well,
We're generally behind the times.
well, we're actually the same. We're in the yellow area. We're like Russia. It's sort of legal in some places. I think that's what they call our area. Kind of legal is what they call it. Because we do have Nevada, so it's kind of legal because it is legal there. And a lot of places nobody bothers you for as long unless you're very.
I think we're also missing an important point, and that is the fact that prostitution is not only limited to women. There are many male prostitutes out there.
And the other thing,
They are servicing either other men or they are servicing women who are in the, looking. Some elderly women who it starts out as an escort service like everything else. And then you lay your cards on the table.
and yeah, it's like everything else. But is it a business? I think it is. And
Well, it's a victimless business because who really gets hurt?
Victimless crime, you mean?
Victimless crime, yes.
Yeah.
Who gets hurt?
Well, when it's not legal, when it's illegal, the prostitutes get hurt. There's always
Occasionally the newspapers will print the list of names of the Johns, but that's really doesn't happen that often.
Well, no, we're talking about what the consequences are of making it illegal. There are pimps that hurt that are raking a lot of money, that are taking advantage of the prostitutes.
Well, no, forget about pimps because the pimps we know. First of all, they beat their women. They get them hooked on drugs. But the escort services, the ones like the